has correctly predicted an upset alert. The Lions knocked off the Packers behind Rodgers. 17 completions for 205 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Brew, you believed in the Packers, then you didn't believe. Where are you now with Aaron Rodgers? He's out of the playoffs.
Well, he deserves the lion's share of the blame
I like that.
for why they're out, no pun intended, for why they did not make the playoffs. And you guys know, I sat up here last week and with Nick and Coach saying Rodgers doesn't deserve much credit. I gave him the lion's share of the credit for the win streak,
but
right? Because he set the tone.
Yep.
Right? He set the tone. We're not quitting. We still got a chance. True. We're not eliminated. I thought the locker room believed because Rodgers believed. I didn't like Nick. And I said it from the jump. Why take the victory lap?
Yep.
He was talking last week after they pummeled Minnesota.
Like it was over.
Like they had made the playoffs. He mocked the media. Oh, they were talking about us when we were 4-8, blah, blah, blah. He was smug. He was condescending. He was cocky. Like the Lions weren't even there. And then, I don't know if that affected everyone, but it may have caused him, again, no pun intended, to relax. He relaxed just enough, just a little bit. And he was not on the top of his game. And the defense held the Lions to 20 points. One of the best offenses in the league, held them to 20 points. Rodgers did not get it done. You put up 16 points, 1 touchdown against one of the worst defenses in the league. You can't throw for more than 205 against one of the worst pass defenses in the league. And the ending, Nick, he threw that interception up like it was just a jump ball. I mean, he just threw it up. It was almost like he wasn't looking.
He threw it up like it was 4th down with 30 seconds left.
Thank you. I was saying it's 3rd and 10.
Correct.
Why don't you throw underneath between 10 and 8
How
and 15
did last year's
yards?
season end? With it, and it didn't get picked, but him trying to take a deep shot.
Right. So Aaron Rodgers.
It's another home playoff loss.
Third straight year.
What do you
third
mean?
straight year they lost to a team in Lambeau
that they
with
were
everything
the
on the line.
Correct. And let's talk about that because this is an abject disaster. It's the worst case for all Packer fans, particularly the ones that said I was wrong about playing Jordan Love. How's that take look this morning or this afternoon? But we can get to that in a moment because I already know Kevin Wildes, the only thing he wants to talk about is what's next for the Packers. And you know what would be good if the Packers knew what the other quarterback looked like. But we'll wait to get to that before we get to this. This is the 3rd straight year. They are favorites. They are in their building. They are in a winnable game. And in the 4th quarter, Rodgers is terrible. And each year, it has come earlier in the calendar. Conference championship weekend, divisional round weekend, and now week 18. This is his 4th quarters. And believe it or not, and by the way, I totally stole this from the Herd. That makes Herd thefts 807 their way and 1 my way. So I got 806 more than I can do. This was Colin's graphic, though. In the 4th quarter of that NFC Championship game against Tampa, Brew, here's what they did. 3 and out, and then the fateful field goal when he didn't run the ball and they didn't trust him to go for it. Against San Francisco, the 4th quarter starts with them 1st and goal from the 7. They settle for a field goal. 3 and out, and they lose. Yesterday's game, the 4th quarter starts with them going 5 and out, and there's a little asterisk there. Not an asterisk, but he threw a pick on that drive. It just didn't count.
Yes.
And he got very lucky because the penalty had nothing to do with him throwing the pick. And it was the exact same guy, exact same type of play. And then I guess that was right before the 4th quarter, I should say. They ended up going 5 and out on this drive that ended in the 4th quarter. And then a 6-play drive that ends in the pick. It's just a disaster.
Dude wasn't even close to being open.
No, that is the type of throw you see from an inexperienced quarterback.
Yes.
And for him to, when LaFleur's first year there, Wildes, they made it to the conference championship game, and they got crushed by San Francisco. And he said, it'd be nice if we could have one of these games in Lambeau. Yeah, and then they did the next year, and they lost to Brady. Okay, it happened. It's Brady. Then they did the next year, and they lost to Jimmy Garoppolo. Not great. No, not great. And now this year, they're at home against Jared Goff and the Lions. And the last point here, that is the worst defense in the league.
Yes.
Detroit.
Yes.
Detroit's the reason Detroit is 9-8 and not 11-6 or better is purely because of their defense.
Yes.
Their offense is fantastic. So the Packers defense actually did its job relatively. That's a disaster for Aaron Rodgers.
You will like this comparison, I think. Now, Rodgers does have the one ring. You can't take it from him. He's a made man. But he reminds me of James Harden. Tremendous regular season. We've seen the failures. Now, I'm not saying he hasn't had good games here and there, and so is Harden in the playoffs. But
I would say
in the last decade, how about
the basketball comp I would have used was Wilt. But the unbelievable regular season stats didn't win as much and seemed to have some leadership issues. But there is certainly not Mahomes. He's certainly not Brady. He's certainly not these guys he's been compared to.
All right, spinning it forward to the future, Aaron Rodgers going to provide us with months of content. Will he retire? Will he not?
He's not
I don't know. Take a listen. It's like $50 million. Do I want $50 million or no? Nick, your reaction?
I'm sorry, but this is why they had to use the last month to find out if Love can play.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Hold on. Why are you poo-pooing this?
Because Jordan Love's not Aaron Rodgers.
Hold on. Jordan Love, you think Jordan Love couldn't have played that game yesterday?
Well,
you don't think Jordan Love yesterday could have done that? Okay, but
no, go ahead. I want to hear this.
The reason Rodgers now gets to, whether he wants to or not, hold them hostage. They now have to play by his rules, on his timeline, on everything. And they don't have any great tangible way to improve that team. Had they taken their medicine and recognized 4-8 is 4-8, maybe we hit the moonshot and sneak into the playoffs and get waxed. Or maybe everything falls exactly the way we hoped it would and we still miss, which is just what happened. And they would have known either Jordan Love stinks. He can hold us hostage. Ooh, yikes, but at least we can move on from him. Or Jordan Love's kind of good. And there's a lot of teams out there that need quarterbacks. If Aaron wants to come back, maybe we trade Jordan and try to get an asset back so we can compete with Aaron Rodgers. Or maybe Jordan Love's awesome. And they're like, you know what? We made you sit for 3 years. We made Jordan sit for 3 years. We moved on from Favre. We can move on from you. But now it is just the total unknown of what their quarterback situation would be without this guy, which allows him to play this exactly by his own rules, which is the worst case scenario for the Packers.
It's not too late. I listened to his whole press conference. He gave the Packers some outs. He said their feelings toward him and whether or not they want to go young with Jordan is going to be a part of his decision. He also said he wouldn't have a problem walking away from the money, but I'm not going to believe that one. But here's what I do. If I'm the Packers and I meet with Aaron Rodgers, I say we want to, Aaron, we do want to go young. We know you're still great, but we want to go young with Jordan and see what he does. Maybe he will try to hold him hostage, but they could probably handle the dead cap hit because they're not paying Jordan Love
of course.
next season. So I turn it over to Jordan Love and I either trade Rodgers or let him retire.
But doing that now, just to be clear, and then we can move on, is so much scarier because you didn't let the kid play.
Well, they should
you
see
can turn it over
in practice.
Practice. Come on, man.
And if he's horrible, guess what? Your team is bad, and maybe you can draft another quarterback.
Fair enough. It's such a missed opportunity.
It's time to move on.
What, Wildes?
Well, I don't know. You're going to draft a quarterback?
Well, not yet.
You guys won back-to-back MVPs.
You're not ready to move on?
No, he just won the MVP last year.
He just couldn't score one touchdown against Detroit.
He had a bad thumb.
Wait, so you think he's still really good?
He couldn't win it when he was at his best. He's going to win it now?
Take it from me. Kevin Wildes, a guy who lost an all-time great quarterback. It's not easy out there. Great quarterbacks don't just come along. You think you got a great quarterback. Next thing you know, you throw 3 interceptions in Buffalo and miss the playoffs. Moving on to Dallas. You buy that?
I'm just sick of hearing Jerry Jones talk. I really am. Because he sets the tone for a franchise that has become. Because I remember the days of Tom Landry and Jimmy Johnson. They were a serious franchise.
Tell me about Tom Landry's hat, bro.
When he took over, they have become a silly franchise that is more style than substance. And that is why they are like a roller coaster. And I've been telling you guys for 2 months, they are as more liable than any other team to go out there in the playoffs and go out there and put forth their F game.
True.
And last night we saw their F game. In a situation where you could get the number 1 seed, we know it wouldn't have worked out, but they didn't know that.
And by the way, it's not like, just real quick, it's not like Philly was up 30 points. And so it's like, okay, we can't get it.
Like
the Giants were right there, and so they don't even get that excuse. Go ahead.
And look, Washington had nothing to play for. I get it, it's a division team, but
Sam Howell.
Right. They're starting someone named Sam Howell for the first time in his NFL career, and you're the what are they, 4th highest scoring team in the league, the highest with Dak, and you put up 6 points against a Washington team that is sitting several of their best players? F game. Look, from the beginning. Here, the punt, the bobbled punt, we got that. That's F game. All right? Then we got this. And I liked chirping, but F game. And then Dak, you're lucky you had it. He threw another big one right on the play before. F game. You will go down to Tampa Bay next weekend. Mark my words. And I'm not even a Cowboys fan. I just hate seeing foolishness. Golly.
That's fair
All
point.
right. Can I say something here?
Yeah.
I don't say this often, Wildes. Brew was right.
Yeah.
Brew.
First of all, you say it a lot, but thank you. Thank you.
Because Brew was saying all this jibber jabber about F game last week, and I was like, what are you talking about? They've lost twice since Dak's been back, both in overtime. Both, one to an excellent team with a great quarterback and the other to the Packers. Okay. And I was like, we're not seeing the F game. But then we saw it.
Yeah.
And that was the worst possible finish to a season that doesn't involve one of your key players getting hurt. You played all your guys, you treated it meaningful, and your quarterback, who we were like, maybe he can get on track. This is not hyperbole. Can I show you the graphic? And then I'll give it to you, Wildes. That's the worst game of his career, guys.
That's not great.
That is the worst game of his career against a Washington team that is done. I know last week they didn't know they could be eliminated, but this week they knew they were. Here is the only, and I think it's a sign, Wildes, of an emotionally immature team.
Yes, that's what I've been saying.
A team that went into the game like, I know we could win the NFC East.
That's what it is.
But Philly's going to win.
Exactly right.
But that's emotional immaturity.
Yes.
That it is hard to be a champion at that level. It is. Like that. And so there are a lot of, the only silver lining is this. Maybe because of that performance, they are less likely to bring that level next week. And I think you would think that's possible. But that is a mortifying performance by the Cowboys.
All right, Brew, can I show you my banner that I made?
Oh, we have another banner?
A banner?
Yeah, it's a quick preview to
Chris
next
was
week.
Right?
No, it doesn't say Chris was right. The Cowboys points in 12 Dak starts, 360. The Bucks all season, 313. So you might be out on Dak, but Dak by himself in 12 games has scored more points than Tom Brady. So I know he throws the ball to the wrong team. I know he threw another pick six. But next week, it's Cowboys over Brady. I'm sorry. I hate to
How many of those 360 came against Tampa Bay?
Josh, how many came
Answer's
against
three.
Tampa Bay? 3 in the first game of the season.
Hold on.
Regardless.
Can I add one little layered take in here before we
Go.
break? Silver lining, Cowboys fans.
It sounds like y'all going to pick them. I know you are.
No, hold
I'm
on.
Cowboys.
Wait a second.
Go.
If you lose to the Bucks, Sean Payton might be your coach next year.
Not might. That's a definite.
I think Mike McCarthy went from having no chance of losing his job to this performance, plus if they get beat by a below 500 Bucks team, I think that could be enough that all of a sudden you move on from
I
him.
agree
I
with
think
that.
that's on the board. I think it's on the
I
board.
agree with that.
I think it's more than on the board.
Oh, okay.
I thought that was the trumpeters.
No,
it was
no,
just the
they're
banner.
somewhere
Oh,
around.
We have
speaking of
so
the
much
trumpeters.
excitement.
Oh, I
It's
think
time
it
to
is
sound
all
the
those
trumpets.
times.
Next,
Oh.
first things first.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.